This week on Han and Ann.
Anna and I consider ourselves bright, professional women.
We have advanced degrees, we work in journalism, and we enjoy the finer things in life.
But lately, we've been talking non-stop about whether we can be classy, intellectual women, but also be really, really into watching The Bachelor.
I'm obsessed.
This season, a nice but vanilla man named Ari is seeking the love of his life from a crowd of 29 eligible women, 4 of whom are called Lauren. Throughout all this, we've been asking ourselves a lot of questions.
What's actually happening in our heads while we're watching The Bachelor? Is it good for us in some way? Or are we damaging our brains?
Is it bad for women? Is it bad for America?
And if it is bad, why does it feel so good?
I'm Han.
And I'm Ann.
And we're in
Indiana!
We gotta pick these up.
They don't tell you about this part of the journey.
In a delightful turn of events, Indiana University Bloomington allowed us to use their MRI scanner to measure Hannah's brain activity while watching The Bachelor.
An fMRI is a type of MRI scan. In this case, we take advantage of the fact that our hemoglobin has iron, which is ferromagnetic.
Essentially, the scanner uses a powerful magnet to track when oxygen-rich blood enters certain parts of your brain.
So basically, if a part of your brain is active and it needs oxygen, it needs fuel, it's gonna send, your body's gonna send more blood to that area, carrying more oxygen to it. And since blood has iron in it, this thing that can detect metals is going to basically say, hey, there's a lot of metal over here, check out this area of the brain.
That's one way of thinking about it,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, that's like the idiot's way of thinking about it.
Has anyone ever asked you to scan their brains while watching The Bachelor before?
No, this is the first.
Will we be able to see Hannah's brain cells dying while watching The Bachelor?
Unfortunately, no.
I just want to see her brain rotting away to nothing.
We're going to see which parts of Hannah's brain are active while watching specific scenes from The Bachelor. We chose clips that she said evoked certain feelings in her, like an intense dislike of a character.
I'm not sure what I'm gonna say, but whatever I do, I have a feeling it's gonna be perfect.
We also chose neutral scenes to compare them to. Basically, any moment of Ari talking about himself seemed to do the trick.
Still doing okay?
Yep. While you're watching my brain, can you find out what's wrong with my personality?
No one can find that.
We realized this isn't a great experiment. We don't have a well-defined research question, we could have standardized the clips better, and we're only testing one person. But nonetheless, we're fulfilling one woman's dream of seeing her brain on The Bachelor.
So what percentage of this is filled with reality television?
Greater than the desirable amount, probably.
While we were waiting for the results of my brain scan, we wanted to learn more about the bigger picture, so I met with Brenda Weber. She's a gender studies professor at Indiana University Bloomington, and she knows a lot about reality TV.
There are a lot of stories about finding true love. My interest is more, why do we need to keep telling that story to ourselves? This notion of a companionate marriage where you find your soulmate who's the consuming presence is very much a construction of the modern moment.
Do you think that reality TV is harming society?
I think it's about what does it mean to watch something mindfully. It's not so much what you're consuming as how you're consuming it.
So watching reality TV isn't going to necessarily make you a better or worse person, but it gives you the option of reacting in a positive or negative way.
I love critical thought.
After talking to Brenda, it was time to go back to the brain lab and get the results of my fMRI.
All right, Dr. Newman, the results are in.
It looks as though he may have been napping during the neutral pictures.
It turns out every time Ari was on screen, I entered a state of blissful nothingness.
He's just not for me, I guess.
No,
He'll
no.
find the one, though.
He will. That's not you.
But whenever I saw Crystal, one of the greatest Bachelor villains of all time, it was a different story.
It looks like my brain's on fire.
It really does.
When Hannah watched clips of Crystal, her amygdala lit up. It's a center for emotional processing and is associated with anger. Part of her brain related to regulating emotion was also active. So I was trying to suppress it.
You were trying to control it.
Part of me was like, I don't want to just hate
hates a woman for having a sexy baby voice.
Hans striatum was also busy while watching Crystal. It's a part of the brain's reward network and is associated with addiction.
So I love it.
So you love it and hate it all at the same time. Or at least you're becoming addicted to it, possibly.
Oh no.
All right, so give it to us straight, Dr. Newman. Was this a good experiment?
There were some issues with the methodology, but again, the idea is a good idea.
Yay.
We've heard so much about what reality TV does to people who watch it, but what's it like for people who appear on these shows? What's this? Is this a date card? Hannah and Anna, let's pick each other's brains. Charlene Joint. Who's Charlene Joint?
Charlene Joint is only the smartest, prettiest, and coolest Bachelor contestant of all time. She was on Juan Pablo's season and she dumped him. It was amazing. So although you sadly did not get engaged to Juan Pablo on your season, do you think there's something about that setting which is very conducive to falling in love very quickly?
I think that the setting makes you really focused on a single person. You spend a lot of your time talking about him, how he might feel about you, how the other girls feel about him, how hot he looks today. It's tunnel vision. You don't have anything else to focus on. Like, I challenge anyone to go on that show and stay for a while and not feel some feelings for the lead.
Can you talk actually a little bit about like what those emotions are that you're feeling when you're on the show? Because it must be an extremely stressful situation.
I think one thing people don't realize is how sleep deprived you are. You're often not allowed out of where you're staying, and you're meant to grate with each other. I was in a constant state of kind of like, anger, I guess, a mild anger.
Sometimes when women leave the show of their own accord or they don't get a rose, it seems like the thing they're most sad about is leaving the friends they've made. Do you think that The Bachelor is actually a beautiful story about female friendship in a situation where women are supposed to be competing with each other?
You bond in a way that, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, you don't even have to have been on the same season. It's like you've gone through this really weird thing together, and you're continuing to go through this weird thing together.
Charlene, it's been such a pleasure to speak to you, and we just wanted to know, Charlene, would you accept this rose?
Of course, Hannah and Anna. I would be delighted to. So.
Yay!
Why does this never get old?
Anna, I've loved every second of this journey with you.
Anna, I have one last question.
Yeah, Hannah?
Will you marry me?
No. But if you have a pop culture question, reach out. We'd love to hear from you. She's just not for me.